Hello everyone. In this lesson, we will introduce the compressed air system. In the starting process of the cold ship, the compressed air system is a relatively forward step because it is a necessary step before starting the diesel engine. Diesel engine startup, including preparation of lubricating oil, fuel oil, fresh water, and compressed air. Next, let's learn about the compressed air system. In the simulator, the compressed air system is distributed in 3 pages. This page is an air compressor, air bottle, and primary distribution line of air bottle. This page is a secondary distribution pipeline of compressed air. This page describes the branch of compressed air to each equipment. The last page is the quick closing valve system. In the simulator, the realization of quick close valve control. It is also very important emergency equipment on board, which needs to be tested frequently. Next, we will talk about the main page of the compressed air system. This is the control panel of the 3 air compressors in the compressed air system. Through the 3 tabs above, we can switch the control panel of 3 main air compressors. On the right side of the panel, there are number 1, number 2, and number 3 main air compressors. Among them, number 3 air compressor is powered by emergency distribution board. In the case of emergency generator power supply, number 3 air compressor can start working. The number 1 and number 2 air compressor, they are the main distribution board to provide power. So before the power plant is back to normal, number 1 and number 2 main air compressor cannot work normally. Outlet pipelines for compressed air of 3 main air compressors. They are connected in parallel. After the 3 outlet pipelines are collected, supply compressed air to 2 main air bottles and 1 auxiliary air bottle. At the same time, we can see that the outlet lines of these 3 air bottles are also in parallel. Now, let's take a look at the directions of the 3 air bottles. First, the outlet line of the auxiliary air bottle, only used as a starting air for diesel generators. The main air bottle has 2 outlet pipelines. One outlet pipeline is specially used to supply the starting gas for the main engine. Another outlet pipe is used to supply daily air of the ship and control air of the ship, as well as starting air of the generator. The working pressure of the control air and daily air is not high, so it must through the pressure-reducing valve to reduce the pressure. Then supply the equipment for use. Here is the primary distribution page of compressed air. The page mainly describes 3 millibar compressed air. How does compressed air enter the air bottle from the air compressor? From the air bottle to the gas equipment. Next, we continue to talk about the air compressor side. On the air compressor body, connecting the inlet and outlet pipes with cooling water. Ensure the timely supply of cooling water when the air compressor works. If the cooling water supply is not timely, that is, without opening the cooling water valve, high temperature alarm will occur after the air compressor works for a short time, and it will automatically stop. It is necessary to wait for the temperature of the air compressor to cool down. And after fault reset, the air compressor can be restarted again. High temperature alarm. It is sent out by the temperature indicator in the left control panel. If a high temperature alarm occurs, the temperature indicator will flash. In addition, on this control panel, there are also overcurrent alarm and low oil pressure alarm of air compressor. The overcurrent alarm is mainly due to the high back pressure of the air compressor. During the operation of the simulator, if you don't open the outlet valve, the overcurrent alarm will be given. Another alarm is low oil pressure alarm. If the air compressor oil pressure is low, connecting rod and bearing related to air compressor piston, they may overheat, wear, or even hold tiles. Therefore, the air compressor is not allowed to work with low oil pressure. If oil pressure is low alarm, lubricating oil should be properly supplemented. Any alarm will cause the air compressor to stop working. It will make the air compressor stop working, and the relevant alarm indicator will flash. When the alarm indicator flashes, we need to check the alarm. After eliminating the fault, then turn the compressor control knob to the reset position. The alarm will be eliminated. Then turn it to another position, and the air compressor can be started again. Let's introduce the number 3 air compressor in detail. In the cold ship, number 3 air compressor is powered by emergency generator. The emergency generator cannot supply power to the following equipment: the low temperature freshwater pump and seawater pump in the cooling water. Therefore, when the number 3 air compressor was working, can only rely on the cooling water pump of the machine for circulating cooling. This does not affect the use of number 3 air compressor as an emergency air compressor. Because in the case of cold ship, the number 3 air compressor only needs to supply air to the auxiliary air bottle. Shorter working hours. In the design and selection, it has been ensured that only local circulating cooling can be carried out. Supply emergency air bottle, auxiliary air bottle to 3.0 millibar without high temperature alarm. The above is about number 3 air compressor, which can work for a short time. Let's talk about the operation of 3 air compressors. The operation panels of these 3 air compressors are the same. In the operation panel of each air compressor, in addition to the alarm indicator just described, there is an ammeter to indicate the load of the air compressor. There is an operation schedule to record the total hours of operation. There are also air compressor operation indicator and motor heater indicator. There are 2 10,000 turn switches under the control panel. On the left is a control switch of the air compressor. We can see that the switch has 3 positions. The middle position is stop and reset. When the switch is set to this position, the compressed air will be shut down, and the alarm will be reset at the same time. If it is in the manual position, it means that we start the air compressor manually in the engine room. If it is in remote position, it means that the air compressor is in remote operation. The operation position of the remote control is set on the central console. Next, we will turn to the central control panel. We explain the corresponding air compressor operation panel. This is the operation panel related to the air compressor on the central console. In this panel, the 3 yellow indicators in the middle, they are the indicators for the remote operation position of 3 air compressors. If the switch on the local control box was turned to the remote position, then the remote control indicator light of the air compressor will be on. The following 2 buttons with lights, they are the operation and stop indication buttons of the air compressor. If the light is on, it means that the air compressor is running or stopped. If we need to start and stop the air compressor manually on the central console, we need to turn the operation position to the manual position. Open the cap. Press the run button. This is to start the air compressor manually. If the air compressor is under automatic control, need to turn the lower switch knob to the auto position. This is the switch knob for priority selection. This is switch knob. It is used to set the current number of air compressors currently in use. For example, the current position is 1, 2, 3. Indicates that the main use is number 1 air compressor, followed by number 2, and number 3 is used as an air compressor with the lowest priority. This means the pressure measured at the pressure switch when it is at a relatively low value and has not yet reached the upper limit. We can give priority to stop the number 3 air compressor. For example, now the pressure is the lowest, and the pressure of the air bottle is 0. At this time, 3 air compressors work at the same time. When the pressure reaches the upper limit, the compressed air system will stop the number 3 air compressor first. Only number 1 and number 2 air compressors are reserved. When the pressure is higher, it is closer to the upper limit. We'll continue to stop number 2. Only keep number 1 air compressor working. By adopting this approach, when the air compressor is close to the upper limit of air pressure, to achieve the effect of grading and stopping the air compressor. This method makes 3 air compressors have the relationship of main and standby. This will help us to arrange the maintenance time of each air compressor. For example, we can use a newly overhauled air compressor as a main purpose. Air compressor that needs to enter the maintenance period as standby. The above is the introduction of compressed air system.